We are going to call this Rookie of the Year award, and that is someone who has the most impact on their team and league as a first-year player. So all of the students I'm going to talk about right now, they've only done 1 year with us, and in 4 of their cases, they're seniors. But they get to enjoy today just the same. So there were some honorable mentions here as well, so please let me give them a moment. From Arborview, Ashton Simonson. I've probably heard the same comment many times. He's so cute, I want to put him in my pocket. He definitely came in with a fire and a flame that was very unique, and came into the Smiley Arborview team and added a whole nother layer to what they turned out to be this year, which was definitely a nice, strong, diverse little team. And Ashton, if he wasn't sitting there somewhere pedaling those wheels and being a part of it, and if you don't know him by name, you will soon. He was a freshman. From Centennial, Gemma Detry. Gemma is the poster child of Team Adorable. I nicknamed a Team Adorable right out of the gate in the first year, and that was largely because of the brother-sister duo of Gemma and Joe, but largely Gemma as a first-year player, who everything she did was just miraculous and fun and Candyland. She was playing Candyland in every single game and scene she did this year. She was absolutely noticed, especially if you get your team nicknamed. And then last, from Clark, Madison Kilpatrick. If there's any other team that kind of has a nickname, it's Clark. And somewhere in the middle of the year, I started calling them Team Love because they like camps, fire circles, and sitting around and enjoying each other, and that's more important than anything about the scene. And Maddie kind of came in and said, "Hey, what about the scene?" As a first-year player, and she found a way to also be at that campfire and help drive some 4-year players even with her to push themselves and be a part of that Clark team this year. So those are my honorable mentions. So I've got some more stories to tell you about my rookies. So please, just the same, Rookie of the Years. As I announce you, please stand up. Let me talk about you for just a moment, and then I'll keep going on. So from Legacy, Caitlin Salyard. Caitlin, I've actually known all 4 years of her high school career, and she was one of those students that anytime I walked in Legacy, I'd say, "Hey, why aren't you in Improv?" And then finally, senior year, decided to give it a go. And not only gave it a go, but I think almost reset the temperature in the room. Anytime she was up there, she had a natural leader and captain on the team, for sure. And then, I don't know if that gave you confidence to do what you did, but there were several games and scenes and shows this year where I was watching an audience be completely awestruck at what you were doing to make that scene work, even if the scene wasn't working. And there's a scene I apologize to your coach for this year that I let go a solid 7 minutes longer than it should have. Simply because of the magic you were creating in that moment. And that magic spilled over onto the league to where everyone started pointing at Caitlin. And that's how you have impact. And that's how you so deservingly are in this category. Caitlin, thank you. Thank you. From Cimarron, Robbie Butchko. I lied to Eva to get her here, but on the other hand, Robbie's kind of a liar. That's what I told her the day I met her. She came in on her first day as a transfer student from out of state, I believe, right?
No, Northwest.
No, oh, Northwest, excuse me, as a transfer student. I'm misassociated. So as a transfer student, but came into her first year, and I watched her play, I think, a game, or it was an exercise, and I went, "You've done this before." She's like, "Oh, I swear." So for the next 3 months, that's all I said every time I saw her. Her first show, that's what I said to the audience. This is her first show. Can you believe it? Actually, I think I made the audience guess who was the rookie on stage because the other 7 weren't rookies. If you want to talk about impact, you also had 2 other transfer students this year that coincidentally were both all-stars at their schools last year in the league. So you had an all-star already on your team, 2 other all-stars that came in as transfer students, and you took the all-star from not only your whole team, but all 3 of those all-stars. If you didn't catch the eye of everybody, you absolutely had an impact, and I still think you're a liar. Robbie, thank you. Thank you. From Cheyenne High School, Isaiah Danjo. Isaiah, I know I said your name wrong, but I didn't get to make sure I was saying it right before we started. I don't know where to begin on Cheyenne, because Cheyenne always seems to get the low end of the stick as far as circumstances, as far as teachers coming and going, as far as how tough it is to manage things at that school. And this year was just another reset year for Cheyenne. Just another, we have to change things up to help and get this opportunity out there. I gave him a coach that I have all the faith in the world in, with spirit and love and passion, who actually wants to be a theater teacher when she can get through college. Because I thought it would be the absolute perfect coach for the school. And then I went into the actual classes, the theater classes, which the program is in such a bad shape that the theater classes aren't filled with students that want to do theater. They're just there because it's probably an easy class to just wing through. So I'm standing there in this class doing improv with these students, trying to get volunteers, and it's pulling teeth to get them up there. Isaiah volunteers, and he could even tell that it wasn't necessarily natural for him to get up there on that first day. And he gets up and he does a scene, and he's funny and he's charming, and it's just very simple and pleasant, and I needed simple and pleasant in that moment to try and connect with these students. So we put a team together. Their teacher, again, this year has left. So the teacher they got this year as a first year is gone. And of course, COVID came along. But they actually found some camaraderie. But if it wasn't with you leading the way, if it wasn't with your smile and your spirit, because spirit is the word I think of when I think of you, your spirit is nothing but positivity and happiness. And even this year, with all of the negativity that surrounded the things I talked about, and just things I can't talk about, because those are things that happen when principals have to write out reports. Because those are the type of things that we deal with trying to get Cheyenne to work. And if this whole league didn't fall in love with you simply on your spirit, that alone is why you're here. You went out of your way to say nice things to whoever you could when you walk in and out of a door. And that means so much, even more so than what you're doing on stage. But if you weren't also nominated as your team all-star. Isaiah, thank you. From Valley High School, Anaya Gonzalez. So Valley had not a reset like I just talked about with Cheyenne, but the year before you joined Improv was a reset year in the sense of a lot of new players. A lot of graduated and a lot of new. But they did have one KG veteran who's clearly a beloved league favorite, who's been an award winner already on this day in the past. And that year before you, he really wanted to help all these new players grow, and he did. And then Anaya comes along as a first-year player the next year. And not only did she come along in the growth of that group, but she almost raised the bar again and stood right next to that KG veteran and said, I don't care if I'm a first-year player, I can play with you, man. I can do this. She is strong, she is confident. She is probably also another liar just like Robbie. And that's, maybe they communicated, but you all know I'm talking about Gio as her partner on that team. But it's not just the Gio show anymore. And when you can do that with someone as stoic as Gio in this league, how do you not come into this category and be a part of this day and be an example of this whole league? This whole league, we have Gios on our team. We hope we have Gios on our team. But now we want some Anayas as well. So thank you. I just looked at Corey and said, I'm doing decent, and she said no. My only freshman nominated for an award this year, from Pahrump, Crystalline, I'm going to say it wrong, Robbold! I don't mean to do this, but freshmen struggle getting to this day. They struggle having a voice in this day. And I try and highlight it every time because it deserves. And if you go through the website, and if any of you have never been through their website, you'll see this day will reflect on there. By the end of today, it will reflect on there. It will show freshman stats, just where they are. So here's Pahrump's story. Pahrump had, let's say, 3 students that wanted to be a part of this league. 2 students that wanted to be a part of this league that found a straggler. That was last year. Now Pahrump's an hour away. So they had to drive an hour to get here. Depending on where you are in town, if you're coming from Pahrump, going to Legacy is definitely much more than an hour. But last year, they struggled just to exist, just to actually have something. But they had 3 players that held on to hold that team. So this year, organization and just a little bit of better planning and preparation allowed Pahrump to build a team. To build a team of, let's say, a guaranteed 10, but a 15 is very easy to say of that team, where they put on showcases and they advertised and created Instagram that they're going to get better at using next year. They did lots of things right to where it laid a path for someone to take over now and be a leader. And not only, I think, is that you, I think now with what you did on stage, people went, that little team with the straggler from last year actually is a contender. They can do amazing work on stage. And I watched your teammates literally step aside sometimes and let you lead them and follow your example. When you can watch that in an improv scene, that's beauty. That's beautiful. Coaches and those of you that have been watching and really know the science behind what's happening in this scene work, when someone just needs to take control in a moment and allow us to go somewhere, that's just something you did so naturally. And I thought you were a junior until you corrected me on YouTube. And told me you were a freshman, and I literally screamed in my house. And my daughter went, "What?" I'm so happy we get 3 more opportunities and 3 more years for you to help lead and find more stragglers and to find more people that are in this category with you. Crystalline, thank you for taking over. Thank you for making this drive. And thank you for representing freshmen, yo. That's right. Not doing fine, Corey.
You got this. I believe in you.
And then the last nominee from Chaparral High School, Trevor Frank. So Trevor, another first-year player, but didn't have to be a first-year player because it wasn't his first year in theater necessarily at Chaparral. But for whatever your reason to join improv this year, you kind of came in and became an instant leader. You have a Geo on your team in a way, in Molina. You absolutely do. But if it wasn't you that was making phone calls, trying to get your teammates to wake up and show up for a show, to organize practices, to make sure stage managers were ready and prepared, you did all of the other things that help make a team well in the very same vein I was talking about Eva before. You came into your little Chaparral team and made an impact, even with a Geo next to you, because you did everything you needed to do, also just taking time to stop and say, Kopi, how can I improve? How can I do better? Wow. The 18 people nominated for these awards, plus 19 on Eva, and plus my Cimarron's holding a trophy back there. And to be exactly like those 19 of you that are in this room. I purposely put you last on this nominee list because it's another just example of just what organization will do. God, has any of you ever just thought, man, if I would have wrote that down? Well, Trevor wrote a few things down, and that's why you're here today. Thank you, Trevor. The winner of our award. My note to you. All 6 of you tell amazing stories, and I wish I could turn into one superhuman. 4 of you might be moving on to the world, but I hope that this league has given you as much as you've given this league, because that is my only fear about my seniors moving on, is I hope you encompassed everything that this league could have done for you in 1 year. Because what you did was you helped me create an award and you helped me create history. And you were a great example of that history. So please come accept our very first Rookie of the Year award. Cheyenne student, Isaiah Dancha.
Wow. To everybody inside Jesters, like, all you guys are amazing. Like, just to the way you guys dress, to the way you guys perform. I watched many of you guys act on stage. It was so amazing on how there's different personalities and what you guys can put on the stage. And it's like, it's crazy because, like, this is my first year here, and when I first had met Kopi, like, he was so enthusiastic, and I was like, wow, he really has a way with this, with just Jesters all in all. Like, when I went up there, like, the other students that were up there, literally, when they were acting, yelled at Kopi. Like, as acting, I saw the video, and it was crazy. And, like, it inspired me to join this. Even though I was like, this is not really my area, but it inspired me. And I want to give a big shout out to, like, Cheyenne, like, all of Cheyenne, the Cheyenne students. You guys helped me through, like, sad moments, happy moments. Like, you guys were just so inspiring. And Miley, I swear you guys, Miley is amazing because she had always kept positive. And she would never let anything, like, put her down, you guys. And she, like, made me a better person. I want to thank her. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank God. Like, you guys are all really amazing.